I hear pastors say feel directed to me. I think a great deal of what he said today in the sermon very, very specifically reflects a lot of the anxieties that I've been dealing with personally as someone who happens to work in finance and around very money-obsessed people. And so this issue of contentment has actually been on my mind a lot. And one of the reasons why is because I'm a husband and father and I want to provide as best as I can. But in that sort of field, it's very easy to lose focus on who ultimately is our provider. And so, talking about this verse in Philippians, I want to do my best to read it in a way that I think we very often miss because of our tendency as human beings. I'm going to do a little bit of exegesis. I don't want to go too deep into it, but I have a tendency to want to read the underlying languages as well as the English translation. So I'll just read from Philippians. Paul is saying, I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. I hear this last line quoted constantly and almost always in completely wrong context, especially people my age. I'll see people quote this verse and they're working out the gym, lifting weights, and they'll refer to the strength God gives them to bench 340, But I think a big reason for that is because we have a tendency to think of God as our assistant, as our sidekick, and not our head, not our leader. And this verse here, in how it's translated, doesn't actually hug the Greek as well as it should. This word do, and Pastor could correct me, it's not actually here. It's not a whatever I do, he will strengthen me. It's more of the strength I have to endure all things is in him who strengthens me. This active versus passive element for me is what I think gets missed. When we think about contentment, as Pastor pointed out, we think if I just do the right things and I get the right amount of stuff, then I will be content. Or when we try to put it into Christianese, we'll say, when I pray enough and go to church enough and read the Bible enough, then he will shower me with all the things I need to be content. And when I read scripture, I am constantly having this tendency to think that way thrown back in my face. So I actually want to go to Psalm 1 and explain a little bit of what I mean by this. In Psalm 1, it refers to the blessed man as being compared to a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. There's that doing, that activity, that sense that everything that a good and faithful Christian wants to do or desires to do, God will help him prosper or her prosper. There's only one issue, though, when I read this psalm. Paul says that no one is righteous, not one. So in a way, this psalm really doesn't really talk about us. It's actually talking about Christ, at least as I read it. Christ is the one planted, the one who yields fruit, whose leaf does not wither. And we are those leaves. In John, Jesus says, "Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself, unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." Again, it's not whatever we want to do, God just supports us. It's whatever we are given to do, God empowers us to do. So what does this have to do with contentment? Well, I think as an ambitious person in a lot of ways, I am constantly thinking about the things I need to be doing to get to where I think I need to be the person I think I need to be. And all of that tends to be rooted in trusting in my own self and my own power and my own strength and ability. And ultimately, when I go back to Paul, he's saying, again, not I can do all things, but the strength I have is in him who strengthens me, which is Christ. Contentment, I've been learning more and more and more, is really not a matter of just being satisfied with what one has, but is being completely trusting in God to regard him as all one needs. And I think in that mindset, it's easier to get through life, whether or not you have much or you have little. Because if you've detached yourself from these things and you know that God himself is all that you need and is all who provides all things, then you can truly feel content. I battle this every day as someone, again, in finance, because everything is about money. Everything is about making more. Everything is about getting more. And while my success might be driven by my ability to help people do that, I also know that it's all going to just waste away. It's not going to last. Going back to the Psalms, I have actually been praying one of these Psalms daily. That's Psalm 49, as a reminder to myself. And one of the verses that really touches my heart in Psalm 49 is, sorry, I lost it for a minute. Okay. "Be not afraid when a man becomes rich, when the glory of his house increases, for when he dies, he will carry nothing away. His glory will not go down after him. For though while he lives, he counts himself blessed, and though you get praise when you do well for yourself, his soul will go to the generation of his fathers, who will never again see light. Man in his pomp, yet without understanding, is like the beasts that perish." Ultimately, the things that we tend to believe give us contentment here in this life will disappear. And all that we'll be left with in heaven for all eternity is the God who provided all those things to begin with. We get a little closer to that peace that we will enjoy forever when we just acknowledge that now.